Hey, you guys.
How you doing? It's the Honeydew Carpenter and Mrs. Honeydew Carpenter. We're just doing the final preparations before we get ready to head up to the ATC in Montana. That's the Appropriate Technologies course that's going on up there. Guys, be sure after we get done with this live here, real quick, Mrs. Honeydew is going to put a link on this video, and just be sure and click on it and share it with anybody you can. This is something that all of us should be able to get behind, being able to use our natural resources and the energies that we have available to us more efficiently. And these guys are at the forefront of all the technologies with permaculture and rocket mass heaters and things of that nature to help us do that. So, um, Douglas Pohl, thank you. He went on and shared a link, and I think we shared it publicly. We typically, if there's a link, we review it first before we put it on. And Douglas did a lot of research on Paul Wheaton and his site, and went ahead and shared that link. And I would encourage you guys to click on the link and share it as well.
The link that Douglas Pohl put up on it was our last video, so yesterday when we were on the road.
Okay.
So go ahead and check that link out, and thank you again, Douglas, for
So
putting that up.
we were on the road. We went to a memorial service, and we stopped back home, and now we're just packing and getting prepared and getting ready to head up to Montana, and hopefully we're there either tonight or first thing in the morning tomorrow. So
Yeah. All right, we have some. Oh, hi from Caldwell. Tana says hi. Danny Bull says
hey,
hi
Tana.
there. Kenny says hey. Kathy says hey. Hi, waving from Northwest Alabama. Hi.
Kathy's so awesome. She was so excited to get her phone made.
Right? Well, I don't know if she's. Have you got it yet? I know we sent it.
Yeah.
She got it?
Yeah,
Awesome.
I saw a conversation.
Okay, cool. You guys want to see something cool? Darwin put a handle on Julie's stove. Let me grab it.
Oh. Yeah, I did some last minute. It's weird. We were so excited to try and check the Air Crete stove out and make sure it worked.
You can't see now.
Yeah, and make sure it worked that we didn't do some of the last minute stuff, and I put a thermometer in it, if you can see that.
Doesn't that look cool?
And I will be taking this stove up to the ATC, to the Appropriate Technologies course. The oven, excuse me, not stove. And Mrs. Honeydew's going to cook some bread in it and whatnot for anybody who wants it.
Yummy, yummy bread. I made dough last night and froze it. Final Frontier Reality, 99 cents.
Awesome.
I think they just donated 99 cents to us, which is wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
The Maker Show says, seems like some people are worried about the galvanized being affected by the cement. Is there any truth to that?
I think there is a chemical reaction that goes on between the galvanized and the Portland cement during that flash off period. But if you look at like different things that are not compatible with Portland cement, like opalites and silicates and whatnot, there's a lot of times where they go to source their aggregates and stuff for concrete, and they have a high amounts of this stuff in there, and there are mitigating measures that you can take to prevent those reactions. And I do it by coating it with hydrated lime prior to mixing it, and that's a method that they use in concrete all the time to eliminate those things, because what you have is you have positive molecules and negative molecules, and those are good because they want to suck together. But if you've got two positive or two negatives, they want to repel each other, and you need to put a buffer in there that's more of a neutral thing. And so that's why I use the hydrated lime. So yeah.
And Kathy Grin says that it's on its way. That's wonderful. We hope you get it soon. And I know you had a question on Etsy, and I meant to answer it, and I got sidetracked. You were asking about the stainless steel scrub buds and how often they need replaced.
Yeah, in my experience, they do not. They're stainless steel. They don't corrode, deteriorate. Nothing goes on in there inside that gun that should make you have to replace them. Unless somehow you did some experiments and introduced something in there that clogged up the gun, you shouldn't have to replace them. I know this from experience because I got a little bit too much J-lube powder in there and it expanded up and yeah, well, whatever. But
Didn't you just rinse it out really good and put the same ones back in?
I did. I just rinsed them out really good and put the same scrub buds back in.
So you still have the original ones you
I
started
do.
with?
I still have the exact same original scrubby pads in there that were stainless steel.
And memorization says, hello, how much kg of cement and liters of foam to make 1 M3? Thanks.
Oh, 1 meter squared.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm in the United States, so there is a conversion table from meter squared to yard squared, and instead of kilograms, it would be pounds. And what was the question?
The how much
I can answer it in
kilogram and liters
of
foam?
cement and liters of foam. Okay, to make a cubic meter squared. Thanks. Well, it depends on what you're going to be using it for and how much you expand the volume by introducing foam into it. But typically, for instance, one of my wall panels is 3 cubic feet. And 3 cubic feet has 7.481 gallons per cubic foot. And that's how I go about mixing it. Instead of doing liters, I do gallons. And I forget how many liters there are in a gallon, but it would be easy to figure out. You just Google it. So, a cubic meter is a little bit larger than a cubic yard. A cubic yard has 27 cubic feet in it, which times 7.481 is hundreds of gallons. So it's quite a bit. I don't know what it is you're doing.
You don't have the conversion
in my
table
head.
memorized?
No, I don't. But I don't know if you. But you know what? I did a video on how to figure the amount of bags of Portland cement to use. I would go and watch that video and see if that helps. Because I did all the math for people so that they could determine. And that was based on my wall panel mix that I expand about 3.5 times. So.
But when we do a video kind of live, was that one live? It kind of flips everything. It's a mirror image.
Yeah.
So that it might be a little hard because it was flipped. So just stick a mirror to it and you'll be good.
Or take notes and just do the conversions from gallons to kilograms. And they do everything in cubic yards, which converts to cubic feet, and then down to cubic gallons because there's 7.481 gallons in a cubic foot. And so I'll know exactly how many cubic feet one bag of Portland cement is meant to mix up, and I'll know how to expand it to how many gallons so it'll fill my panel perfectly. But I go through that in that video, so let's move on.
All right, so Kathy says, love the handle. Thanks. Davey says, love you guys. Thanks for all your hard work, research, and sharing with the world. You are very inspiring. That is a wonderful
so much.
And amazing comment. Thank you.
And Lord Stormrider, do you use galvanized or aluminum
flashing to make your ovens?
Flashing to make your ovens. To do the ovens, I use aluminum. Galvanized does give off a poison when it gets super heated, and there's a chance it could get superheated enough, and you wouldn't want that to be around your food. So, absolutely.
Kathy Green says, awesome. Barry says, glad you guys had good trip and hope to see you
at the stove convention.
You're going to. Well, that's exciting.
Awesome.
Hope to see you too. George says, when is the parts kit going to be available to build the foam mate?
Oh, okay. I actually did promise to put that out and get all the parts individually listed on our Etsy store so that if someone was in a location where they're having a difficult time doing that, and we've had deaths in the family and all sorts of things, and I've been scrambling really hard, and I haven't been able to get that done. So I am going to set a new goal and put that as soon as we get back from ETC. I'm going to go ahead and list all the hard to get parts and make them available for people so that I can just send them right out to them if they're in a location or overseas or in a difficult place to get those parts. I buy them in bulk by the hundreds so that I can get a good price on them, and I'll just pass that good price on to you guys.
Yeah. And just to
So,
let you guys know how hard Mr. Honeydew works, we did hire a helper, a 16-year-old helper, and he was wonderful the first couple of days, and he helped amazingly. But then he came back and told Darwin that if he worked like Darwin does every day, by the time he's 40, he'd look like he was 90. That's how hard Darwin works.
so
And so
apparently I'm 48 and I can work a 16-year-old kid under the table, but whatever.
so we do work a lot and try and get a lot done, and sometimes we run out of time. We hope to get things more done than we do.
Right. So if I run my mouth about all these plans I'm wanting to do and I don't quite get them done on time, please be somewhat forgiving to me.
Yay, I made it in time for the live chat, Sonny says. We have the foam mate and recipes. Where do I find hydraulic lime and hydrated lime?
I think it's called hydrated lime, and I just get it at Lowe's. And it's in the concrete, and they use it to make stucco. So if you guys just want to Google, stucco ingredients, and they use it in mortars to create a non-shrink mortar and grout for placing under support structures and whatnot.
I can also put a link in later. I have no idea what the price is, but I could put a link to be able to buy it online.
Okay.
In this later on.
Okay.
It may take me a little bit, but in this video, later on I'll put a link to it.
All right.
And I have no idea how much it'll be buying it online. Maker Show says, and what weight foam do you use for your air Crete? Is it a 90 per 100 G per quart like Dongaya uses?
Oh, yeah, the density of his foam is about 90 to 100 grams per quart, which translates into ounces. Let me think. I can't do it in my head. I'd have to look. But anyway, it's really, really similar. I've actually weighed it out, and mine is actually just a little bit more forgiving and you can add a little bit more water to your slurry because I think mine is just a little bit lighter, but stronger and denser than theirs. And my in the foam mate has its own little regulator. People don't understand that the end gun has a little expansion chamber where the air and the foam solution go in at the same time. Now, when it goes through the scrubby pads, it expands and it creates resistance, and the air can't go through as fast. And so it increases the pressure in the little ball where the valves are, and it slows down the foam solution coming in until more air is introduced. And so you'll be able to adjust the valves until it comes out really smoothly. If you get them just wrong, it'll go a little bit and then slow down and then slow down. Either way, it ends up coming out about the same density because of that regulation there. And so that's something that was just a fortuitous discovery. It just happens automatically, and my foam ends up being consistent and the same density almost no matter if you don't have the valve set just right or not. So it's a really cool product.
Hello from Ontario. Have a safe trip, Michael
Hey, Michael.
says.
How you doing, buddy?
And Robert says, what about some Thompson's water seal and waterproof coating?
Um, there are all kinds of different concrete coatings and sealants. Um, just because this is so porous, I would recommend one that they would use for like a cinder block, because cinder blocks are porous as well. And they make them lightweight on purpose, and they're meant to have rebar put down through them, and then a really high strength, non-shrink grout put in the center of them. Now, that being said, when they go, if you have an underground portion of cinder block or something that's getting backfilled, they recommend you put an expansion sealer on it, which is a sealer that goes on, and as it cures out, it actually expands and infiltrates into the porousness of it and creates a really good waterproof barrier. So my recommendation is, I think Thompson's would be a little bit thin. You'd have to put a lot of thickeners and a lot of layers on to get it to be effective. I would recommend more of a cinder block or a good a sealant that's meant for a cinder block. So.
Do you have a video addressing the amount of dry ingredients you add to the cement per batch, or can you give me that info? Thanks for what you guys are doing and love your ideas and dedication.
Yeah, we have our mixed designs that give the amount and ratios of dry ingredients, and they're on our Etsy store, and I think they're really inexpensive. You know, they're just a few bucks. And it tells you specifically in what step to mix them in and mix them up before you make your slurry, and it's pretty all conclusive. So yeah, we do.
And we'll put a link into the store later after this video.
Julie says, "Have a safe trip." Hey, Julie.
Kenny says, "Hope you get some footage of the event." We are planning on getting a little bit of footage of the event and putting up. Yes.
You know, if you click on the link and go to it and look at and research it a little bit, it's there. They video everything up there, and then they make the podcast and everything available to people through their website, and so it's gonna all be videoed.
Sunny says, "Okay, good. We have a Lowe's nearby. It is a bit of a drive, but not a huge drive." Sunny, call before you go.
And just go on to Lowe's.com and get the SKU number, and it's real easy. And you just give them a call and give them the SKU number, and they'll tell you whether they have it in stock or not.
Yeah, because we've gone once and they didn't have it in stock, and then we had to go back and they had it later on.
Yeah, it was right in the height of the...
So if you have to make a drive, call first.
Right. It was just right in the height of the season when people were gearing up to get going.
Henrik says 1 gallon equals 3.785 of a liter.
Yeah.
Denmark. So he posted
nearly 3 3/4 liters per gallon. So if you multiply that times 7.481, then you have what it would be in, you know, now I can't even think. I lost my train of thought. Okay, so there's 3 3/4 liter in a gallon. If you multiply the 3.78541 times 7.481, that tells you how many liters there are in a cubic foot, and you should be able to figure anything out that I've done because I did all mine based on cubic feet.
Sweet. All right, Ashley says cool clock, and did you make it?
Actually,
thank you.
We're building a shed for the grandparents out of Crete right now, and they're just really sweet and cool, and they travel a lot. And they were going by a really famous Army surplus store in Utah called Smith and Edwards, and they picked that up as a gift for us, and I love it. Usually, right now, it's in the morning time. But usually when you guys see it, the other night we were doing a live and it said, a video.
And it said like 2 o'clock
in the morning? Yeah, it said 2 a.m. in the morning. I was wondering if people thought that was 2 in the afternoon. No, we work late nights.
I got both recipes, and one said hydraulic lime, and one said hydrated. Can they be used interchangeably, or are they the same thing?
They're the same thing. Yeah, they're exactly the same thing. I probably just misprinted it. Can you believe I would do that?
Oops. All right.
Because it is hydrated
Yeah, it's hydrated. So sorry
lime.
about that.
Basically, they take lime and they super hydrate it and absorb it with water and then dry it really fast and it turns to a powder.
Okay, and somebody said that there's a difference from the U.S. gallons and UK gallons. Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. In the UK, they use liters.
So do a conversion chart to make sure you get the math correct.
Right.
And the maker show says, thanks guys and safe trails. Thank you. And Steven says, where and when is the ETC?
ETC goes on
And
from
actually,
the 9th.
it is ATC.
It's
we
yeah.
misspoke the first time.
I did. I misspoke. It's the appropriate, not essential technologies course. It's the appropriate technologies course. It's outside of Superior, Montana, and they hold it on an annual basis. And typically, people who register for the classes and go to this do it way in advance. I had no intention of going. I didn't even know exactly when it was going on. But after reaching out to these people a little bit for some advice on a Kickstarter and whatnot, they actually had been following my work. Uncle Mud had, and invited us on a special invite to come up and spend a day speaking about Air Crete and how its physical properties could complement the things that they're doing up there to more efficiently use our natural resources and energy. And I think there's some huge possibilities there. And so I'm really excited about it, guys.
We are very, very excited. We will put a link to their webpage in the show later
and
after
their Kickstarter as
we
well
are done.
that they're doing on the stove, so you can look through the Kickstarter and look through the rocket mass stoves that they're building and look into maybe getting one for yourself because they're super cool.
Kevin Doyle says, hey, don't forget about us here after you discover the ingredients used to build the Egyptian pyramids. Just kidding. Keep up the good work.
Oh man, don't even get me started. You start looking at archaeological finds that have been thousands of years old, and they've obviously been drilled, and they have masonry work where these bricks are put together and you can't even slip a piece of paper between them. They're so finely machined, and they weigh so much, and nobody can figure out how they got them there. And I'm of the belief that there's been inhabitants on this earth that are way far technologically advanced than we are right now at one point in time. So, but
all right,
anyways.
so you guys are awesome. Thank you. And imperial gallon is larger than the U.S. gallon, as are quarts and pints. Always ask for an imperial pint of beer. That's good to know. Right?
Yeah. You know where that saying, watch your P's and Q's, came from? It came from these old bartenders when they used to serve beer in pints and quarts.
And they had tabs.
And they had tabs, and they didn't want them to get too far out of bounds of what they could afford, and they'd tell them to watch their P's and Q's. A little bit of trivia.
All right, pyramids are built by ferro cement blocks. And Victor says, hi, great job. Can you do panels for the shed without
the frames left in? Yeah, you sure could. In fact, after I did my flex test, I had a lot of comments, and people are going, most people don't understand that the reason that's holding together is because it has that little sheet metal frame on it. And that's just not true, guys. It was flexing when I was putting those 500 pounds on it, and those little sheet metal deals just actually, because the flex just pulled away like that. they're just like 29 gauge sheet metal. They're extremely weak. All they are is to use as a form to put in there. But on a flexural sideways strength like that, they're extremely weak. However, they do allow the heavier gauge sheet metal studs to be used as a building method and to frame up commercial buildings and what have you. And the reason I left them in, guys, is because I just want to put together a panel system that anybody can do, and that if there's any question of whether it's strong enough, well, after you get them put up, you have studs back to each other, 16 inches on center, and it's built in pretty much the same configuration as a stick-built steel stud building. It's just they're put together prior and have aircrete poured into them. So once they're stood up, you have a complete wall that's insulated.
All right, so is it okay to post a link to make sealant out of silicone in your feed? All right, so any links automatically get put in on held until I can go through and read them for safety and other reasons.
Yeah, and I will review it.
It may take
Here's
some
the deal
time.
about silicone, and I'm really excited about it because it's a new technology. This concrete modifier, the silicone additive that they're putting in concrete modifiers. I had about an hour-long conversation with a gentleman in Indiana who works for an engineering firm and does quality control, exactly the same thing I used to do for years. And he wanted to talk to me about this new BASF. I don't know if you've ever heard them, but their commercials say, "We don't make the things you buy, we make the things you buy better." And they do. They do a lot of technologically advanced stuff. He was talking to me saying that they are overloading their flex machines to where they're getting 5 times the flexural strength out of concrete by putting this additive in. I am so excited about getting some of this. It's a latex modifier. It's essentially the liquid form of those blue gloves I wear, and they it modifies the concrete. You add it to it, and during its initial chemical reaction and flash off, it sets up as well. But it binds everything together so much better that they're getting way better flexural strength out of these panels to the point that they overload their machines. Their machines can't even go that high.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so the possibilities are endless, guys. That's why I want to put my lab up. I think we're just months away, 24, 36 months away from being able to put together like a soup where we can get a machine just like they bag up grain and bag up everything else and bag up ingredients for aircrete that just add water and foam and bam, and just have a product that is outstanding that anybody can do. I mean, look at what the concrete industry did. It wasn't too many decades ago when you couldn't go to your hardware store and just buy a bag of Quickcrete and just add water and anybody can do it and just pour it in place, and they brought it mainstream to the end consumer in a DIY fashion, and that's what we want to do with Aircrete, guys. So, anyways, I'm excited about that latex. I have done some research on it. You can go ahead and put that link in. We will review it before
Ancient inhabitants were way more advanced and without electronics. Thanks for sharing and posting what y'all have done. Safe travels to Montana. Looking forward to what you come back with. Cheers from Arizona. The pyramid blocks were poured in place. Drive safe, or I drive a ready mixer, and sometimes people ask me where Jimmy Hoffa is.
You might know.
Kevin Doyle says, I do know that Hoffa will always be a cornerstone in the market.
Oh, jeez. That's a pun on words. That's funny.
You can just look on YouTube for it. Messy. Hi guys from Mother Many Horses. Hi. It's always good to see your name on here. Steamer Brick
Some
says,
guy
"Can I
said,
make?"
"Can I market and sell rocket stoves with you?" It's interesting that you say that because not only is are they up at the ATC doing a DIY shippable core type thing for a rocket stove. Um, I already have the drawings and the plans in place to do a shippable layer, but a thinner layer of ceramic in there, and I may end up lining it with like a porcelain or something. But I am eventually going to do this, and
And so that is a very good possibility, Steve.
it's a very good
Steven,
possibility.
sorry.
Yeah, it really is, because my whole idea about these things is to get people across the United States excited, strategically place locations throughout the United States where people
Can
who
start
want to
their own
have their own
businesses.
business and they want to run these machines, whether it be roll formers for pumping out buildings or whether it be an ACA machine for cutting out all the sheet metal parts so that they can be shipped and someone can just DIY, pop rivet their own rocket mass heater together that's portable, that they can keep forever and take with them from place to place. But those are just things I'm working on. And
If you add the silicone, you should be able to add more foam to make it lighter without compromising the strength.
they're getting literally 5 times the strength out of the flexural strength, I should say. Not necessarily compressive strength, but flexural strength out of using the silicone. I'm
Robert
really excited about it, guys.
Robert Klein says, "Thumbs up, folks." And I'm looking forward to catching up with everything that I have missed with you guys. Maybe in about a month. Are there many horses? Aw, that's sweet. Stephen, I would like to meet you in person. Douglas Pohl says, "How do you plan to stop the pH 1112 cement attack on galvanized sheet metal stud as forms?"
I'll have to check into it and see if I already did it. I think I already did it. Because I understand what you're saying. Because one's acidic, one's alkaline, and they're going to have a reaction with each other. But I think the hydraulic lime creates a pretty good buffer for that. I haven't had any issues with it. We'll see how it works.
Wow, on that silicone. Anything that increases concrete's tensile strength is a good thing for the type of construction panels you are researching and using. Keep up the good work.
And that's what's
Thank
crazy,
you, Rob.
guys, is we've got all new technologies. They've got all these, even new technologies in aggregates for concrete that are lightweight. These expanded shells and clays and lava rocks and whatnot. Um, it's kind of an exciting time. And what it's going to end up doing, and they're going to have to eventually um, allow, I don't care how big the timber lobby and the CMU lobby and for high strength concrete are, they're going to have to eventually allow aircrete as a viable source, especially when we have these technologies coming out that make them super duper strong. So,
All right. Hi guys. I'm just curious if something could you build a wooden stove out of aircrete? Build a wood stove? Just a normal wood stove instead of a rocket mass heater?
oh, yeah. Um, I mean, the whole idea behind a wood stove is, and they make them out of thick steel, is because steel radiates very quickly um, off. And so once that exchange of and that chain reaction that you create when you're burning your wood and releasing the carbons, which they call fire, it it heats the stove and radiates it out. Now, in a rocket mass situation, you want the heat and the stove to rocket up to basically a reservoir, which would be your downdraft, and then have the heat radiate away to eliminate the resistance of it rocketing, and therefore you get a hotter, cleaner, more efficient burn that doesn't put as much carbon into the air. So I think um, it wouldn't be the smartest thing to do to insulate a wood stove that is meant to have radiant heat. That being said, and it probably wouldn't be the most efficient. I'm probably not gonna go down that rabbit hole with it.
Okay, okay, Honeydew. I'm going to be making a video with you in mind, making a Harbor Freight mixture with a 55-gallon barrel to get full aircrete loads. That's cool.
Oh, that's cool. I already have one drawn up, by the way, and it's really cool. It's got paddles and stuff in it.
That's awesome. Okay, and Kevin Joy says, yes, indeed. Hit that thumbs up and support their work before you leave here, okay? Oh,
Thanks, Kevin.
yeah, thanks, Kevin. It's possible, and I was thinking crushed sand or glass is what India uses to make it stronger. They're stronger.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what they use over there. But I do know that sand, particularly most sands, have a high percentage of silicates in it. And they don't go together well because of the, positive and negative, the molecular structure of them creates positive ions and negative ions, and the silicates repel from Portland, and they actually make it weaker. I know I actually put a refractory mix out, and I used silica sand, but I also coated the silica sand, moistened it just a little bit, and coated it with hydraulic lime to create a buffer there, and that is done sometimes to increase your strength in concretes where you don't have any other choice but to use aggregates like
Steven
that.
says he's headed west now on I-94 in North Dakota near Dickinson. I really hope you're not watching a YouTube channel while you're driving. That would not be good.
But awesome. He said he was heading up in the Northwest.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
All right. What is GFC cellular fibromixture? Do you know?
GFC cellular
Cellular.
fiber mixture.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'm having to think back a minute on this. But I think I've used something similar to that at a time in the engineering specification for a mix design, but I can't recall it at this point right now.
All right. Steven says I purchased aircreterocketstoves.com. Hey, that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Crushed sand, not whole sand. Oh, so I guess they use crushed sand over there, not whole sand, in their cement mixtures.
Oh, so it's a manufactured product. Yeah, we did a lot of different.
The rocket
crushed
portion
aggregates and
of this
stuff.
stove provides the burn of the gases for almost total burn of the carbon, Bert says, on the rocket stove.
Yeah.
And a firebox and tube up to the barrel needs insulation. Yeah, so they both are talking about the rocket mass heater.
Yeah, and I was talking about the specific physics behind it, because anytime you create energy, which you're doing when you create a fire, you're creating heat energy, it's going to want to rise. And it's just anything in motion wants to stay in motion, and it's just like switching a gear in a car. If it gets hotter and hotter and hotter, and it's moving faster and faster and faster, it's just switching gears all the way up that tube, and it's going super fast. And then it hits this big reservoir. It's just like water running into a reservoir. It's going fast down the creek in the waterfall, and then it hits the reservoir and it slows down. That's the same thing that happens, but you don't want it to slow down and create resistance. So you want that energy, that heat energy, to go out, and that's where the radiant heat happens in a rocket stove, is on the downdraft.
All right, well, we are going to go and probably hurry and finish loading the car and get the kids in, and then we are on our way. So you guys have a wonderful day, okay?
All right, thumbs up, and be sure and click the link and check that stuff out.